Hi there.
This is Lou. I'm John. And we did a little series talking about what I did in my counselling room, some of the things that happened in the counselling room, some of the things we focused on. So we're now actually going to turn to Lou and look at her counselling room. And hers is a bit different from mine. She doesn't deal always with people from bottled up. She deals with quite a number of topics, and I think Lou will tell us a wee bit about that rather than me tell you from my pinnacle of ignorance about her counselling room. She'll tell you all about it.
Sure. I was a singer-songwriter for years, and you know, if you look, Healing Streams, one of the I did 4 albums altogether, and Healing Stream is still available. But inevitably, what I was going through, and I've been through a great deal, began to filter into my songs, and so some of them are very poignant, and they would really kind of. People in the audience would resonate with what I was doing. So it wasn't unusual at the end of my concert to have, because I used to talk about my story, a little line of people all opening up, you know, some of them sobbing on my shoulder and just telling me their story, because somehow what I did gave people permission to do that. So after a while I thought, oh, flipping heck, I better do something about this and know what I'm doing.
So that very often happens, isn't it? If you open yourself up and you're vulnerable to people, then people go, oh, it's okay.
Yeah, it's the most powerful thing I think you can do. And
absolutely.
Particularly, actually, this was in church settings, and they're not known for being particularly vulnerable and open in church, ironically. No. So I just began to get training, and I got a counselling accreditation, and so just began to pick up some of the stuff first of all that was coming with the concerts.
So how long have you been doing that now?
40 years.
40 years. Right, okay. Sorry, I'll start.
One of the biggest journeys for me was accessing childhood sexual abuse, and so I processed through that, and what I found actually, again, I think because some of it came out in my songs, I spent quite a lot of time working with adult victims of sexual abuse. You know, then inevitably you begin to get their partners, so you start to do some marriage stuff. You know, depression, anxiety, and I suppose gradually over the years I won't take specific mental illness because I don't think I'm trained to do that.
No, that is a specialty.
But certainly, you know, childhood trauma, you know, mental issues, emotional issues, the normal things like anxiety, depression, I work with that a lot.
Okay.
And I love it.
You love it?
I do love it, yes.
So, I mean, what do the people you see now look like? I mean, you started off really on sexual abuse and in that area. I mean, what's it like now?
Everything. I kind of get everything. What often happens in life is that you go through something in the now, and then hidden trauma is a bit like an unexploded bomb, and you find that in the crisis of the now, often not only are you dealing with what's happening, but you're finding all these kind of box of fireworks beginning to go off inside of you because it's triggering stuff from the past. So people will come with a present crisis, and that can be anything, you know, children, relationship, work, or whatever. But inevitably, as you're working with them, there are things that you find that are bleeding into that, that are not making the situation any easier for them. So you find yourself dealing with the now, and then going back and finding out what's feeding into the now, and making it more difficult for them to cope and get through.
So to some extent, you're a bit like an archaeologist. You see this thing sticking out of the ground, and you sort of, you know, scrape away at it, and you find there's a temple underneath this stone.
And actually, I have to say, when you've been doing it a long time, you could almost tell me the trauma that they're presenting with, and I could probably tell you, you know, what are the dynamics of the past, you know. And if you can understand where something comes from and understand that bit of yourself, then that really helps in the here and now. I mean, I'm very different to you because you're a behaviourist, aren't you? You deal more with the here and now.
I think you have to. I mean, you have to deal with the drinking because you can't go back unless you've dealt with the drinking. Because in order to do that sort of deep work, then you can't do that while the person is drunk.
Absolutely
You
not.
know, because they really have to process it. And since alcohol is a psychoactive drug, it's very difficult to process this when the alcohol is on board. So in that respect, yes, you have to kind of deal with the alcohol before you start to deal with anything else.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, sometimes I tend to go back as well, you know, but that's if people are working with me for a length of time, you know, then we will deal with some of the other issues.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a few people I've worked with who've gone back into the past or looked at childhood.
Sometimes you give them to me and I kind of go on there. I mean, I am awed by what John does because I get people, I get the chaos at the beginning, but I get plenty of time to work with them to sort the chaos through. You often get chaos after chaos after chaos, you know, just in each session they give you the depth of their pain, and, you know, and then sometimes you won't see them again for, you know, for weeks or months or whatever.
Sometimes I wish I could go on that journey. You know, it would be actually very useful, but most of the time I feel that what I'm doing is crisis intervention.
Absolutely.
You know, I like the sort of following it, but, you know, but you do more of that sort of following people through.
And actually I would say to people, I don't do crisis intervention because I do have inevitably I have quite a lot of people, and I'm part-time now, so I cannot immediately be there for them every minute of the day. So I try and get them to get help that they can immediately access. Certainly for working with drinking, the website's amazing for that, because you've got us all the time with loads and loads of videos and stuff, and you've got the program. I would like to say, actually, if you're thinking of using John, contemplate maybe thinking about 2 or 3 sessions, because it's great to be able to say what's going on, but he can really help you with the resolution of that. So, and I think you're kind of working on maybe offering that more, aren't you? It's something that we're really pondering.
I mean, I've been working with a few people doing that. You know, there's a few people who have been following through, and I've really enjoyed that. You know, I really enjoyed it, because you do get an opportunity to build a relationship for a start, and through that relationship you start to go deeper as well. So yes, I have enjoyed that, and I'm looking at ways that I can maybe offer a kind of almost like a program of, you know, but anyway, we're not here to talk about mine. We did that, you know. We're here to talk about yours.
Okay, so if you're thinking of getting a counsellor, let me just tell you some things maybe that a counsellor can offer you.
I think that would be really useful, you know, because I'm sure people are looking for counsellors and, you know, thinking, A, what can they do, and B, how do you know if you've got a decent counsellor?
Well, I always say, I mean, I do charge for my time, but I always say to people, come and have your first session. You can at least unburden yourself. But you need to know, I need to be the sort of person you feel you can open up to. I think that's really important, that first connection. You know, to know that you sense empathy and understanding for your counsellor. So have a first session and see how you feel. Now, you will feel awkward if you're opening stuff you've never opened up before, so that would be normal. But if you're with a counsellor, you should, I think, quite early on feel there's somebody there whose heart is there to support you. So first of all, get the connection. You know, make sure it's someone you can open up to, and there are 1 or 2.
That is actually very important to get that connection.
Absolutely.
You know? I mean, I did research years ago and talking about the therapeutic sort of relationship, and what we found was actually it's the biggest predictor of whether things will go well.
Right, okay.
By a long way. It's not about techniques, because so much goes into, you need to do it this way, you know. Yeah, that's fine, but if you don't have that therapeutic relationship, it's hopeless.
So the second thing is, what you get from a counsellor is somebody who is utterly and completely there for you. You'll find, particularly if you're in this situation and bottled up, that you're constantly spending all your life kind of caring for the situations around, caring for your drinker, caring for your family, not particularly caring for yourself. If you get a good counsellor, they are the one person in your world whose job it is to utterly think of you, and that is a wonderful thing to have.
But that's not always agree with you, though.
What's that?
The fact that you're there for the person doesn't mean to say you've always got to agree with the person.
No. But that's that.
You know,
this is what we're talking about: establishing a relationship, not the process of it.
Yes.
Yeah. I think to start off with, you need to feel really safe with your counsellor.
Absolutely.
What I find works really well actually is, well, first of all, when I see a client, I don't know what it is inside of me, but I don't see necessarily who they are. But I always look at who they truly are, the best version of themselves, But I find that it most comes out best if you, first of all, really accept people where they're at and they feel accepted, that there's no judgment whatsoever, not a lot of telling what to do, but first of all, just establishing, I care for you, I value you, I'm here for you. And in that atmosphere, it's really interesting how when that begins to settle in, that relationship, clients will come and say, look, I'm struggling with this, I really want some help with this. They will begin to identify the bits that they need help with. And that's a really elegant way of doing it, because they come for help rather than me telling them they need help.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's very true.
Yeah.
We were watching a program last night, and it's all about houses. And what was really interesting about it was a couple who are looking at this house, and it's not working for them, and Kirsty comes in and she looks at the house and goes, okay, if we do this, we do that, we do the next thing. And she transforms the house. Not by doing massive things to it, but just and the one we were watching last night, she created a heart to the house, which wasn't there. It was all dissipated.
It all starts off in her head, doesn't it?
Yes. And to be honest, a counsellor is a bit like that.
Yeah, I think it's
because true. What they don't see general, or what they're not looking at is the person in front of them. They're looking at the potential that's there. They can pull that out. Yeah.
The other thing that I think that when I first started, obviously I was taught techniques and stuff. I think that went out years and years ago, because people are really different, and some people you have to be. I mean, I've said this before, but it's a really good illustration. I used to teach two sisters the piano because I was a piano teacher for quite a long time. And one of them, if you gave her one note more than what she felt she could cope with, she'd spend the entire week panicking and crying and coming back and saying, I couldn't do it. The other sister, you could give her 3 grades ahead and she'd come back and do a really passable go at it. So again, people are really different.
Absolutely.
And some of them really can take the challenge and go for it, and others you have to take them step by step.
So it's meeting them where they are.
Absolutely.
And who they are.
Yeah. Wiring, I think, understanding wiring is really helpful. The other thing, if you're thinking of coming for counselling, is it's somebody that you can tell and really open up and understand what's going on. Sometimes people will start telling me their story, and then they'll say, it's almost as if they then realise just how bad it's been just by beginning to share and understanding what they've been going through. So having someone who can listen to you and that you can tell your story to, who then says, okay, let's go on a journey. We're going to be doing a few videos. I'm going to be talking about the journey of change.
Yes.
So actually, a wonderful counsellor is a lovely thing to have. I find I go through families. I mean, I literally do.
And she does. The generations of them.
That's true. Actually, I've got children.
One family she did 3 generations.
I actually did. Because they wheel me out as as somebody that's really helped them. I find that's really honouring. The other thing is I do maintenance with people. I don't have a set number of sessions. We do kind of regular assessments, and then often people come in and just process life with me because I know them really well. They trust me, so they'll come, with a month's worth of things to process, and that's easier work for me. But I love doing that as well. So I help them not just mend, but do life well.
Good.
And it's really rewarding.
And she does it really well. I know that because people tell me how well she does it.
Yeah. Well, I love them. I do. I love them.
And that is obvious.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So that's me.
Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah. I think. Oh yes. I want to say, we've been doing Zoom, and we've been doing virtual because of COVID.
Yeah.
If I had counsellors, if I had clients in when COVID was really bad, I would have to kind of blitz the room every time after everything. So we've done Zoom, and that was really scary for people to start off with. But if it's all you've got, if the phone even is all you've got, it's not ideal. But actually, what you've got, you do work with, and I do work, and you work with people abroad. You work with people all over the globe.
I do, yeah.
And I do bits and pieces with people in different kind of countries, and it does work. It wouldn't be our ideal. If you would say to me, "What's your ideal?" I'd say, so they sit on the sofa, so you can comfort them and hold them safe if they're crying. Of course, we want that. But we've found in the last 2 years that you can, and I now have clients that I start on Zoom and finish on Zoom, and so that is a new dimension that isn't ideal, but we've been forced into a situation.
I think we've known that for years, that you could actually do all this online, and we have been doing stuff online for 15 years now. But it's only recently it's becoming more accepted.
Yeah,
by
we got
people.
A lot of resistance in people.
Yes. Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. Necessity is the mother of invention, and you get used to it.
Yeah.
If it's all you've got, then you use it.
Absolutely.
If it's all you've got, then you appreciate it.
Yeah.
And people who come to me, very often it's the first time they've ever opened up to anybody.
Yeah.
So they're not looking at whether they're sitting on a couch, in their own house or my house or anybody's house. It's just the connection that's there, And if they can make a connection through phone, Zoom, Skype, or just sitting hugging me, they'll do it.
Yeah.
It's about the connection. It's about being able to unload.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
I have to say, I have a lot of clients, so this isn't an invitation for people to queue up and have Zoom sessions. No. But it is possible. So if you can't see someone face to face, but they offer Zoom, I would say, if that's all there is, take it, because you can very powerfully go on counselling journeys.
Anyway, there's a lot of convenience to that. You don't have to travel. You don't have to sit in somebody's office. You don't. You know what I mean? You don't have to get dressed up. You can sit and do it.
It's really funny, because I had a client who just loves coming. But she's doing Zoom for ages, and then she we have 1 or 2 windows where it's been less of COVID here, and actually she was going to come, and then she did Zoom in the end, because she said she just hadn't calculated the journey that would take out of her day to come to counselling. So.
Yeah, if you come for an hour session, it might take you half an hour getting there, half an hour getting back, so it's 2 hours, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, I think we should...
just come with us on this journey. We're just going to do I'm just going to talk about some of the primary things that can be helpful in counselling.
You're going to talk about change, aren't you?
I am.
Okay. Okay, well, join us in the next one.
Yeah, bye there.
Bye.